everyone. Welcome back to MDS. We are so excited to have you here. Today is going to be so awesome. It's a bit different, but nice. If you're joining us for the first time, you are so welcome. If you've been rolling with us, thank you so much for your encouragement, your comments, your shares. We're so happy to have you on board into this family. You're welcome. And today we are excited because we have somebody that is not just a teen whisperer. He's a daddy, he's a husband, he's a brother. We're so happy to have him in the house because he's passionate with what he does and the life he affects. We're so honored to have Mr. Ikechukwu Anaba on the seat. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Ma. It's an opportunity to be here.
Honestly,
thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here. Guys, today we just want to talk about the difference in the new normal. Talk about the difference in the new normal. What makes up this new normal? What is a new normal? What's our values? How do we present us being different? You know, there's a scripture that says that we're in the world but we're not of it. What is our stand? What do we put out there? And how do we take a balance? How do we sit back and say, yes, there's a new normal, but I am who I am. I am a priesthood. I know who I am and I know the values that I want to bring to the table. And how do we go about this, new normal? So I'm going to be allowing my host today because he's dealing with this next generation. He's dealing with a lot of young girls, young boys. He hears their takes. So I'm going to be a bit more like a listener because I also have one growing at home. So I'm also going to be learning. From him. So mothers, sit back, aunties, everybody, caregivers, people that have nieces, nephews. The times are different. So we have to keep learning and unlearning to make a better generation to come. Thank you, Mr. Ikechukwu. We're so excited.
Thank you very much, Ma. So basically, when you talk of the new normal, these are expectations that are enforced on the society. Yes. So you see society that wants everyone to be successful. Mm-hmm. You need to make money. You need to be rich. If you're not rich, your voice is not going to be heard out there. So these are expectations. We have the negative and the positive expectations enforced on the society.
Wow.
Yes. So you now see young people trying to meet up these expectations. By so doing, you now see things happening like the social vices, wrongdoings, getting rich quick by any means, trying to impress people. You see ladies doing anything for money. So you see, they have good intentions, but on a negative platform to achieve those expectations enforced on the society.
Wow.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the other day, guys, I don't know if you saw a skit that just, I consider that kind of skit viral because for me it was quite educative and it gave me a picture, or would I say a clearer picture of what the minds of our future generations are thinking. And if you go, I'm sure it's still floating around. So if you go, it was a skit that, someone said, I have this 1,000 naira and I have this, and on this is written God. Choose one. And these are kids under the age of 15, and everybody else except from one child was picking the 1,000 naira note. So we're in this era where it's worrisome, and we're wondering, as children of God, that we are trying as parents to raise these children that have values. But you're finding out that it looks like the society is larger. Like we're being swallowed, but it might not be the case because for one, that's why, God gave us this vision of MDS. So we can put it out there because I might have a few within my community that I'm able to influence, but there are a whole lot out there in the world. So we're looking for a place of balance. How to make these children realize that there's no quick scheme. There's no, you can't expect the Holy Spirit or whatever you think within you to happen overnight. We're all going to be groomed one way or the other.
Yeah.
I mean, gold doesn't come out gold from the way it was from the original source. It goes through a process. And that process is what I'm seeing that this generation just doesn't want to go through.
Now, most times I don't attack the next generation immediately. So I try to bring in the parents. Yes. So
guys, we have a lot of work.
Yes. So this is it. So we have many parents that don't have relationship with their children. Yes. For instance, I did a video recently. Imagine if your son comes back to you from school and say, Mommy, I scored a goal today in school. Do you know most parents, their reaction will be, are you mad? You're still playing football? What about your classwork? And they begin to tie everything to the academic. You miss the opportunity to strike a conversation with your child at that point. Now you begin to lose that child unknown to you. So most parents feel, if I paid your school fees, if I've done this, I provide food for you, I give you shelter, that's enough. No, it's beyond that. Most young people, teenagers specifically, don't have relationship with their parents. They don't open up. They don't talk to their parents. Why? Because you don't even create listening ears. Just earlier, before we started this discussion, we were talking of parents always telling their children how good they were.
Exactly. Not being vulnerable enough.
Exactly. So the child is always going to tell you the good part of him, because that's what you always paint to him.
Exactly.
You never told him or her that, at some point I struggled, I had some certain challenges, this is how I solved it. You always tell the child, I was good in this, I was the best in this. So the child is always going to return to you with the good part of him. His weakness is going to hide because you never gave room for such discussion. So that when it will be too late for when you recognize that this child is having this particular challenge, but he won't open up to you. He will rather open up to somebody out there.
Yeah, that can see them for who they truly are.
Yes.
At that point in time.
Just like the social media you talked about, they influence children more than parents, more than the home, more than the family. So when you go to social media, you see people that are free, they are telling who they are doing this, they are doing that. Meanwhile, you cannot actually say those things at home because there was no platform for you to air such views.
I know.
You see? So we begin to lose the child. So when the child comes to the society, you don't expect the child to be normal.
I know.
Yes. So the new normal will take effect. That's why you go to schools, you see the child at home is holier than thou. When you go to school, that child is like a lion roaring. The child is everywhere, active, but when he comes back, you see the parents say, my child cannot do this. I have a teenager that the dad always brag about. This girl has boyfriend. She's having a relationship issue. Secondary school. But when you see the dad is always telling you that, my daughter is this, my daughter is good. You don't know the child. So most parents, I deal with teenagers more. Most parents don't know their teenagers. They don't know their children at all.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Guys, we talk about these things, and when we want to, coming from where he's coming from, we remember those days when our fathers would tell us that they all carried first. You now wonder all your father's classmates, everybody carried first. Who now carried second now? Everybody's carrying the first. So, you're talking about us being vulnerable to our children because they need to just know what it is. Like I have a teenage daughter now. I see myself going back in time, as we're talking, gisting, I go back in time to tell her, this advice that I'm giving to you or this way of life. Remember that one time I was also a teenager. So I also had challenges. I also had what my realities were then, even though the times were different. But we still had what issues we had. And sometimes being vulnerable to your child actually makes the child feel, I can actually tell my mom this.
Yeah.
I can actually relate to my mom,
Exactly.
concerning these issues like this. So at the end of the day, we can't be a know-it-all in front of our children. We need to let our guards down a little bit. And sometimes so that these children can blossom in our arms, even in their wrongdoings. We're not praying for it, but it will come. I mean, Christ never promised us not having challenges. He only said victory is sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So meaning that there will be a bump on the road. And, sometimes I find out that even we Christians, we actually don't want a bump on the road. We just want to pray. But there should be a test before a testimony. So, but I just think that, in this new normal or whatever this new normal is, you find a generation that is not conscious about time. I was going to talk about time with you. And, because all we've learned, even as, management students, studying economics, you always hear people say time is money. Time is money. People in the finance sector, they'll tell you time is money. Well, it looks like we're in a generation that doesn't consider time as being worth anything. It feels like the clock will stand still and wait for them to finish whatever it is that they call a routine for themselves before arriving where time now counts. And you now find out that that's why you see your teenage children somehow, a homework that has been there for 2 weeks. It's 2 days to submission that the child is grappling to get it all figured out. So we need to also install this habit of time, time consciousness. knowing that time consciousness leads to, wealth at large. So coming to talk about time, it's something I would like you to, put, 10 cents on the issue of time, and, how it affects our overview, our world, this new world, this world of new, time, being patient with time, not rushing things. This rushing things kind of keeps rushing back as well. The people that want to rush to make money, before you know it, you're doing Yahoo in the cyberspace, you're doing one thing, Yahoo Plus. At the end of the day, the people you want to use to the Yahoo Plus to please are the same people you are using to do the Yahoo Plus. So it's confusing. And all of this is boiling down to people lacking patience, lacking, not wanting the process. And that process is something we can't neglect. And we have to let the mind know. We have to, keep, putting it in that you need to wait. There's a time, there's a process, there's a schedule. I mean, even God, when He made the kids, you give birth, the child will nurture through the breast, the child will crawl, the child will walk before the child will run. It's a process.
Exactly.
So that process also evolves every area of life, maturing. Even as Christians, we're baby Christians, we get mature. God expects more. Everything with God is a process. And we're in a time where, a new norm, so to speak, is where time is not valued. So I just want to hear, your 2 cents on that.
I tell young people that, for instance, if you check the spelling of there, it's THERE. And you check here, the spelling of here is HERE. The difference is T. The T is time. And it's not just time, it's going to be a conscious investment into the time. Yes, because if you don't invest into time, what time is this now? If you check, let's say this is 1 p.m. Definitely there will be 2 p.m. in the next 1 hour. True or false? Yes. So, if you don't invest into the time, this 1 p.m. will never come back. I have friends, I grew up in Romasi. I have friends that joined this so-called fraternity, then they called Debam and they were. Do you know I drive there every day to drop my child in school. I just show my wife every day. See this guy. Well, I grew up with him in Romasi. What are they doing now? If there is fuel queue scarcity now, they sell fuel. They do agbero work, they load pass and buses and all. Now, I'm not saying they're going to fail. They have opportunity to make it in life. I'm praying for them. But when they were supposed to invest into time for the future, they didn't do it. They were carried away with social activities, which the same thing is going to happen in the next few years. Now you're telling the young ones, time is of importance. Invest into time. You're in school now. Finish, get your grades, get your certificate, get a skill. The world we are in now, your certificate doesn't really take you anywhere. Have a skill. What can you bring on the table? What can you offer? So I always tell them that the only thing that we're going to balance life, sometimes they give this phrase that life is not balanced. Life is completely balanced. Yes, because the difference between what's going to differentiate or that's going to make you different or make your way right. Like just we're talking now, young people are hearing us. Some of them will listen, some will not listen. Some want to go and test the waters. So it's all about time. Time is going to define whether you're going to listen or not. 2 things must happen to a teenager or to the next generation. If you listen, you will share the story for people to understand, these are my mistakes, these are things I did. If you don't listen, either you don't make it in life or maybe life will carry you away. Your story, people will use it to inspire the next generation.
Wow.
Yes.
Error.
Big error. So time should be invested into. Young people need to wake up. Now, everything that is trending now, you see everybody. That's an abnormality looking normal.
I know.
So when it's trending, if you're not part of the trend, you now look abnormal.
Exactly.
You see where this discussion is getting to?
Yes.
So when the abnormal is now normal, that even when you are normal, you look abnormal. Yeah, so if you don't flow with the trend, it now looks like, this guy is not normal. Just like a young person, as I said earlier, you don't have a boyfriend, you don't have a girlfriend. Your classmate will tell you, you don't have a boyfriend and you're 20 years. You see how strange it is? So you that is normal now, you're trying to say, that means I'm supposed to have a girlfriend. So that means you need to fit into the abnormality to look normal. Big error. So time is of essence. They don't work with time, so they just feel, let's just be living life. So in the nearest future, as I said earlier before we started this discussion, in the next 10 years, we'll not have families, we'll not have society. Because we'll not have these abnormal people as parents. That means if they give birth, automatically the child is going to be a nuisance to the society. Because they don't have what it takes to train a child. So the effect of all this abnormality looking normal now is in the future. We are complaining of what's happening in the society today. In the next 10 years, it's going to be messy. So we need to, that's why this podcast, what you're doing right now, like, it's very, very important. And I give you thumbs up for it.
Wow.
Yes.
We bless God. Guys, this is not funny anymore, because in these next 10 years, it's talking about you and our children will be in the society.
Yes.
So we need to work at it. You should be wondering, who is your son going to marry? Who is your daughter going to marry?
Yeah.
If we don't work at it, what's going to happen? What will your grandchildren turn out to be? Because now your grandchildren or your children will now be in a larger society that has people who are living normal inside abnormal.
Yes.
Because you're supposed to be normal, you feel, oh, I'm on the right track. But it's like, around me, I'm not approved.
Yeah.
Because 80% of around me is doing the opposite. So it will need our values, it will need our prayers, it will need our consistency in raising our children right, in constantly putting the scripture on their face, and also believing God and trying to teach them the way to go. Because the society at large is not going to wait for one person to emerge.
Exactly.
So we just need to keep putting it in there consistently every day. Because, this is quite scary when you check statistics, you check what is happening, how it's going. The other day again, there was another very nasty trend picture going all around the whole place. Somebody was doing a video of a young girl that walked into the bank. She was practically, in my definition, she was practically naked. And he was like, this is what we see when we come to the bank. Oh. And I was looking at the picture and I was like, God, what is this? Is this now what is normal? Because even the girl has a mirror, and this was fine by her. Because are we now raising children who don't even have self-worth? Because at this point, it's either going to be a cry for help, or at this point is at the point where that person on their own don't even have value, appreciation for themselves. Because you can't put yourself out there, waiting for someone to pull you right back. It gets to a stage where what you have been taught should now emerge within you. And for you to tell yourself, no, this I have a limit. I can't go beyond here. So I just think, Mommy, is God helping us and being by our side. As we continue to pray, as we continue to put our efforts, our best foot forward, trying to live our best life in Christ, we just have to keep, putting it out there, telling our children it's okay to feel abnormal in the new normal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay to feel abnormal in the new normal. I hope, guys, you got that. It's just okay. Because, somebody will say, oh, you're weird. Why are you weird? You're weird because at 20 you don't have a girlfriend. You're weird because you haven't lost your virginity. You're weird because you're not out there. You're not creeping everywhere at night. You're there because you're keeping your focus. You know that I want to put my education first. You're weird because you're saying no to shisha. You're weird because you're saying no to vaping. You're weird because you're weird because you're making right choices.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it's okay to be weird like that. I'm saying it's okay to be weird like that. While we're praying and believing God for our children, I think it's okay to be weird that way.
Yeah.
To be weird, not to be normal in the new normal. It's okay. That's where we are, guys. And guys, please, we're looking forward to your interactions in our comment section where we want to read back, come back to you with feedbacks, come back to you with maybe questions you like us to answer on the show concerning any area. Because while we're on this show, it's a 30 minutes podcast. Of course, we're not going to cover every area. So for each topic, there are different roads to go to.
Yeah.
So we're going to be having, of course, first series, second series, but we're also looking forward to your comments to know the areas that affect your immediate environment, the area that affect your boy child, your girl child, your family as a whole, because we have made ourselves available, and we have people that God has also endured towards the podcast that are willing to share what they know as well in their own area of field to help the the society at large. I'm so grateful you turned out, because please guys, we're gonna put his handle on our on our comment section. Please follow his page. You're gonna be seeing a lot he's doing with the teenagers. You're gonna be seeing his mindset. These are the people you want your sons to follow on Instagram. People who are bringing the God factor to everyday life. Dealing with teenagers, what the boys are facing as it is, what the girls are facing. We're going to have him back on, because there are areas that I want him to talk about. There are things that are happening online. We're really hoping that, you'll bring your own take to it. It's not going to be on this episode. It's called Drop In, Drop Out, where we heard, that where they have a situation where on the internet, somehow, girls are led to sending their nude pictures. Boys are collecting nude pictures and going to the cyberspace and dropping it out there. And now at that point, we're having suicide increase. We're having depression. We're having, when I mean teenage, when I mean young people, young as in you're wondering why it's a 15-year-old having depression. Why am I hearing a 10-year-old? What problems are you solving? Somebody is paying your school fees, paying your rent, putting food on the table. What are you depressed about? And like you said earlier on, you mentioned an area that was very important, making ourselves vulnerable enough for our children to come to us.
Yeah.
Because at that point of your vulnerability, your child can see something you might have gone through that put you down, but yet you're standing here today as a parent, meaning that you also went through something. So at that point, that child can tell you, Dad, your son can tell you, look at what I'm going through. I'm being shaded by my guys. Look at what my guys are saying about me. And I don't feel good being in their presence. Your daughter can come and say, Daddy, I made a mistake. I wasn't supposed to do this. I just followed. I thought I was dealing with someone that I cared about, but I just found out that person didn't care about me as much as I did. And look at where I've gotten myself. And your child can actually come back to you, and you being that shoulder that the child can cry on. What do you have to say about this dangerous trend that are going on now, that are feeling like, like it's normal, it's in the new normal? Because this is just not normal. What's happening to our teenagers?
So, last year, I had this teenager that she met this guy online, just the way you said, conversation. She used to send a nude, they should do video, nude pictures and all. So this guy later on, after maybe they've done whatever they need to do, told her that he's going to put her videos public. That she should send him money, a particular amount. She's in school. This girl still running around looking for money to send to this guy. So her nude pictures, videos, not even pictures, won't go the social space. So that's when I noticed, because she was moody, always moody, and when I see them, I don't react. I just try to, cajole around so they can open up. And when they open up, it's between you and myself. Yeah. So we settled that matter. So when you said it, I wasn't surprised. So that is a trend. So it's the abnormality that is looking normal. So the social media has influenced these people to a point where they think that this is a normal. So if I'm chatting you and I say, what are you up to? What are you putting on? You say, okay, let me show you. We are chatting and chatting. So it's like a normal thing. They don't see anything behind what they are doing until it gets to that point. So, see, parents need to look for a way to create this bonding. Many young people don't communicate. Parents don't know their children. Yes. So, for us to control this thing, when you err, if you can easily run back to your parents, not your friends in school, because they will also, these are people that are part of the system. You tell them your problem, they will give you more instances and why you should do it. But if you run to your parents, if you have a platform where you can run to your parents, and the parent has listening ears, not to condemn you immediately, that child will easily break out from such situation than keeping it to herself or to himself and telling his friends and telling people on social media, this is what I'm going through, and they'll keep advising you wrongly. It's a war we need to fight.
Wow. Guys, we have a lot of a lot of diverse areas to go into this.
Yes.
That's why we keep telling you that you're a teen whisperer. So we need you like never before, because these teens are turning into these adults that we have tomorrow.
Yes.
So it's better. I mean, like they always say, it's better to catch them young. It's better to know what's in their minds. Better to know what's their thoughts like, because times have changed. Like us, when we grew up, we didn't have these issues. There was no phone to press. There was no Snapchat that will go off in 24 hours. Meanwhile, they claim it will go off in 24 hours, but somebody else have saved it while it was on there.
Yes.
So it's not they need to be, some of these children are as naive as they come as well. Others are smarter. Some kids are smarter than others. That's just how it is. But when you know your child, you know what your child's limitations are. So you're able to infuse yourself into the situation and bring your child to a safer space. Because this issue of suicide keeps increasing. This issue of depression keeps increasing. And we are wondering why our teenagers, our babies, our princesses, as we call them when we bring them into the world, nurturing them, will get to a point where you feel like your child is lost in the space. Yeah. You can't hold your child. You don't know what you're talking is not, it feels like it's not entering. So at this point, we feel like seriously, we need both the teen whisperers, those that God has given the ability, because we know that there are different graces. We've come to realize that indeed there are different graces. So there are people who have this grace, this ability to lure and bring out, stuff that are in there. So we can't wait to keep having you on and on whenever God has a leading towards it. When we will receive these comments that we're hoping to receive, and there are areas we want to keep touching on and expanding, to keep helping parents to bring out their children and unlearn, because I think majorly those of us that came from our den, this now is not easy.
Yeah, totally
it's totally different, so it's not easy. But like I said, it's a key thing on MDS that we learn to unlearn. We always use that phrase, we learn to unlearn, because we're coming from a different time. So we're learning to embrace what we have now, learning to learn how to manage this kind of children. Remember when we grew up, these things were not there. It wasn't even easy raising us then, but it's tougher now. And we are having the mindset of the den. So now we're in a space where we're telling our audience on MDS that it's time for us to be willing to unlearn, so that we can learn. Yeah. We can relearn. So, and having you as as an MDS body, we are very happy, so that we can come to you, we can do this chit chat, and we know that there are parents that are coming up with even younger ones, not even as old as. So we want some pointers from you, that if you have a child between the age of 0 to 6 years, what are these norms that you think we can start at this point in time to start imbibing, so that when we come on our new episode, we can raise it again from 0 to 6. We can do 6 to 12. We can do 12 to 18. Okay. So that we have these different dimensions where we talk about what are the little things we need to start infusing on time to change this mentality, because it's indeed eating up the society. Yeah. So we're happy to have you here, and we're looking forward to that. So guys, watch out for that episode. We're going to have the Teenage Whisperer, right back. We're going to have where we're going to be talking from age 0 to 6. 6 to 12, 12 to 18. What are the little things? So we're going to give him time to come back to the podcast to tell us the little things, little changes, things we can start to infuse at early stage in order to have a child that it's okay to embrace the abnormal in the new normal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you guys for watching today. God bless you.
Thank you.